Welcome in, Dween Nation. We are the Dween Sports Podcast, and we are just about to get started. But before we do, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share so we can continue to be your fantasy sports podcast. Thanks for being part of Dween Nation, and enjoy the show. Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Pies, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and Week 4 is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, which means we need to predict not one, not two, but all games in the Week 4 slate. We're going to go through Thursday night all the way through Monday night with our game predictions, and as you know, it is rapid fire style, so we're going to run through all of them, and then after we both do that, we'll discuss some of the biggest matchups on the week. But before we dive into all of that, how you doing, Genoa?
Yo, Dween Nation. Justin, I am a Texans fan craving for a victory this week, Justin. I am walking around the street. I have a cup. I am begging for a victory. I'm hoping we can do it. We got the Titans, who are also 0-3. Justin, is it weird that I have doubts about my Texans? I mean, I stand here, I sit here, Justin, in front of you with my Texans hat, hoping we can get a victory. If we go 0-4, Justin, I don't think I can be on next week's podcast. I'm just kidding. But I'm hoping to get a victory, Justin, not only in fantasy, as we talked about in our starts and sits, but as your team, as well as the Eagles. Go Eagles.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the Texans haven't given us any reason to really believe that they can win football games right now. But we will see what we predict, and let's get underway, actually. Are you ready?
I got it ready, Justin. You know, last week you're at 158, I want to say. Maybe a little 153. Something in that range.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Count me down. I'm ready to rock.
All right. Ready in 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, we moved to Thursday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks are traveling to Arizona, but Seattle has won the last 7 matchups between Arizona. I'll take the Seahawks to win here. We move to Sunday, where we get an international game in Ireland in the morning. I'll take the Vikings to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at a neutral site. Washington goes to play the Falcons. The Falcons are pissed off that they've lost and got shut out last week, so I'm going to go with the Falcons to win at home. We got the Saints and the Bills. I'll take the Bills easily at home. Cleveland and Detroit, another easy one. Give me the Lions. Carolina goes to New England. I know the Panthers looked good last week, but I'm going to take the Patriots to win. We got the Chargers heading to the Giants to play in Jackson Dart's first game. It's a tough one for them, though. I'm going to go with the Chargers to win. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. Right now, Philadelphia is finding every way to win, and with no Mike Evans, I'm going to take the Eagles to win on the road. Tennessee at Houston. Houston has not won a game yet, but they finally get their first one here, winning against the Tennessee Titans. We got the Colts headed to the Rams, and the Rams are going to win this game and drop the Colts' first loss. Then we got Jacksonville and the 49ers. I think Purdy returns. If he doesn't, I'm a little bit more skeptical, but regardless, I'm going with the 49ers to win here. Big Christian McCaffrey game. Then we got Baltimore at Kansas City. Baltimore now has lost 2 games, and this is a really tough one because the Chiefs have also lost 2 games. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win here with no Worthy most likely and no Rashee Rice. I'm going to have to go with Baltimore to win on the road. Chicago at Vegas. Give me the Bears. They looked really good last week, and I'm on board with them. Green Bay at Dallas. I'll take the Packers to win with no CeeDee Lamb for Dallas. We move to Monday. We got the Jets and the Dolphins. I'm going to take Miami. They looked kind of good last week on Thursday night. They get a long-awaited rest, almost essentially a bye week from Thursday to Monday. So I'm going to go with Miami. And then Cincinnati at Denver. I'll take the Broncos.
All right, Justin, 55. Not right, bad. I think it was a 155, a good lengthy 155.
Yeah, I mean, well, now we get a doubleheader on Monday night, which is pretty cool. We still have all the games. Obviously, next week, I guess starting in week 5 all the way through week 14, there'll be shorter rapid fire because we'll have bye weeks and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm happy with it. Are you ready to rock?
Absolutely. Let me know when you're ready. I'll count down.
Ready? I'm going to count you down. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right, Thursday night, Arizona versus the Seattle Seahawks. I got the Cardinals stealing one at home. I think that Kyler Murray, I'm going to trust him for this game and this game only to steal one out. Then we go to overseas there, early Sunday morning game, the Vikings and the Steelers. Man, I think Old Man Rodgers has somewhat of a good game, but Minnesota, good enough to stop them late. Give me the Vikings, Falcons, and Commanders. I think that Penix has a bounce-back game. Give me the Falcons. I think Drake London has a great game. So does Bijan. Buffalo Bills hosting the Saints. Give me the Bills on a route. Detroit also hosting Cleveland. Give me the Lions on a route. Carolina at New England. I'm going to go with New England getting one at home. I think their loss last week against Pittsburgh gives them a motivating matchup against the Panthers. Then we go to Los Angeles at New York. I'm going to take the Chargers on a really close game. I think Jackson Dart makes it close. Hopefully Malik Neighbors plays. I like this game. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I have the Chargers late in that game. Tampa hosting the Eagles. Give me Philadelphia. You mentioned this as well. I think the injury to Evans is going to have Tampa Bay not really knowing what to do. I think that Jalen Hurts has another good game passing. Tennessee at my Texans. I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to pick Tennessee. I can't pick my team right now. I'm sorry. Then my Rams. The Rams hosting the Colts. Let me go ahead and get the Rams on a close one. I do think that Daniel Jones has a great game, but Stafford leads a game-winning drive for a field goal by Hardy. Anyways, 49ers hosting the Jags. I think that the 49ers could have a great defensive game coached by Robert Saleh there. Give me the 49ers. Chiefs and Ravens. This is the game of the week, no doubt, Justin. This is going to be a tough matchup. This is like the first time ever they've been 1-2. I'm going to go with the Ravens stealing one on the road. Vegas hosting the Bears. Give me the Bears. Green Bay goes to Dallas and dominates them. Give me the Packers. We go to Monday night, New York at Miami. Give me the Dolphins. And then we go to Cincinnati at Denver. Give me Denver.
All right, you got 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
I had to provide a little bit in depth there because it's like, let me go through the slate real quick, Justin. I like to see. First of all, you have Rodgers going against a team that he faced for a decade plus. You know, Minnesota, it's that little bit of a rivalry, Green Bay, Minnesota. Now it's Pittsburgh, Minnesota. These were also teams that faced in like a Super Bowl. I want to say like Super Bowl 9, and like Bradshaw just took it. And so I think this is one of the Super Bowl matchup, I want to say.
Wasn't Rodgers trying to go to Minnesota this offseason? Wasn't that a storyline, like him wanting to be there?
Yeah, and then also I feel like a lot of tension that Green Bay and Rodgers had between. They had a chance to get Jefferson. I think they had a chance to draft him or at least trade to get him in that, I want to say 2020 draft, and they didn't. They I forgot who they drafted. I think that was the year they got Jordan Love. Like that could be another kind of loophole. I could be wrong. But anyways, I think that that's another storyline. And then you go down the slate. Let's see, Carolina and New England. Those two teams are like in the same stages. You know, two young quarterbacks, coaches that are, you know, starting fresh kind of thing. And then you go to Los Angeles, New York there, Justin. Jackson Dart, who I actually think he's a pretty good quarterback, a rookie. I'm excited to see his preseason impress me the most. So I'm kind of like bought in a little bit. If Neighbors can play, that's a good matchup. Neighbors versus Ladd, and then you got Dart versus Herbert, which is kind of cool. And then Philly and Tampa Bay. I mean, Justin, these are two teams that like Tampa's had Philly's number. They had beaten this team multiple times in the last couple of matchups in the playoffs twice. And so then you got, you know, my Texans, which whatever. But then you got Daniel Jones on the road facing a high-powered Rams offense in SoFi. I love that. And then you get one of the two best quarterbacks, you know, two of the last 3 MVPs going up against each other, both 1-2. Like, Justin, we would thought like, oh, they might be 2-1 or both 3-0, 1-2-1. But no, they're both 1-2 there, with both teams just suffering losses 2 out of the 3 weeks where you're just like you see Monday night, you see how Baltimore lost. You're like, this Ravens team, there's something off. Like, Derrick Henry fumbling. You got this defense and Marlon Humphrey looking confused. Like, something's off with this defense. And then with the Chiefs winning last week against the Giants, like, is it really that convincing? Like, that was the game they were supposed to win. You know what I'm saying? So we're not surprised here. So these are 2 matchups at Arrowhead that I'm excited to see. The last 2 matchups, well, I guess the one in the AFC Championship was in Baltimore. So this is in Kansas City. That's fun. And then you get the Sunday night game, which, I mean, Justin, I can go on and on, but I'll give it to you. The slates this week are sick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm interested with a handful of these games. I am looking at that Philly-Tampa one. Like, can I really bet against Tampa, who, you're right, has had the Eagles' number? They've won 6 of the last 7 games against the Philadelphia Eagles, but just without Mike Evans, man, it's really tough to see. I mean, I know Emeka Egbuka actually has been a phenomenon thus far, probably my current favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but you know, now he's the number 1 guy, and he's going to get kind of that tough coverage there. We don't know if Chris Godwin's returning this week or not, but if he's not, you know, it's just kind of a depleted core there for the Buccaneers. And Philadelphia showed that they can throw the football. Obviously, we know they can run the football. So that's an interesting one there. You're right. The Baltimore-Kansas City one is kind of the unanimous game of the week. These 2 teams, man, they just always go back and forth. The Chiefs normally have the number of Baltimore. But it's just Kansas City does not look like the team I expected them to be thus far. I mean, they are missing. You're missing your top 2 wide receivers, so it's like you got to give them. You know, Patrick Mahomes can't do everything. This defense is not as strong as it has been in years past. And with Baltimore, man, they've suffered now 2 kind of heartbreaking losses. They were in it with a game against the Lions this week, and then the Henry fumble, and they just, the Lions go for it on that 4th and 1, and they get it. And then with the Buffalo one, they had the game in their hands. They were up by double digits in the 4th, and then a bump, Derrick Henry fumbled again. I don't know if that's going to be a lingering issue or not. But yeah, Baltimore, I think, is just not going to let themselves start 1-3, which it's crazy to think that either one of these teams are going to be 1-3 going into week 5. But that game is definitely a must watch. The Packers won and the Cowboys. I really wish CD was playing. I think that this game could be more, obviously, with CD there. Without CD, I think the Cowboys might have a really tough time moving the football. I still trust Ferguson and Pickens. I know you have Pickens as your start of the week. I have Ferguson just because they're going to have to throw a bunch. But I don't think this game is going to be like, 35-28. It's going to be more like 27 to 14 or 17. But hopefully those couple touchdowns go in the direction of one of those 2 guys we discussed. Another team that I'm actually obviously there's 2 games that I think are going to be absolute blowouts with the Bills and the Lions. If you want to take the covers, I think that they're both going to cover. I think the Lions at 9.5 are going to cover. I think the Bills are at 16.5. I still think they cover. Ooh, that one's obviously tougher. 16.5 is a big spread to climb. But yeah, that's a tough one. With the Giants here, a lot of people are trying to, ask me, like, what do you think's going to happen in this football game with Dart being his first game of his career? It's a tough one to think. I don't think that the Giants are going to put out 30. That's not happening. I think there's a good chance that Dart and the Giants start out quickly. Like, they get a quick touchdown, and we're like, damn, okay, maybe Dart is legit. But then the Chargers kind of lock in, and over the rest of the game, we don't see too much from the offense. So I'm not super high on the Giants this week offensively.
Also, there's 2 more. I mean, this is really fun. This is a fun discussion, Justin. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of other matchups that I'm excited to see as far as like scheming matchups. I want to point this one out. Liam Cohen on the road against Robert Saleh, right? They're 2 former coordinators, which obviously Saleh is right now, but coordinators at heart, and one is very offensive minded, one's very defensive minded. And at one point they both got hired for their schemes, and I'm excited to see a Travis Hunter offense with some Tootin and some ETN. Let's see what Trevor does, because he has some pretty nice. Also, Parker Washington's pretty nice as well. I mean, he makes some big time catches. He's not going to get you great fantasy numbers, Justin, but he's going to make plays when needed to. And I like Parker Washington. I want to see that offensive scheme going up against a Robert Saleh defensive scheme at home. They don't have Bosa now. Unfortunately, it sucks. He's gone for the season. But still, Robert Saleh is able to generate pressure, generate pretty unique defensive schemes at home. I like it. And I think it's even now that Bosa's not there, because Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked all that well. So I'm excited to see if this is like a high-scoring game or just like a defensive, star-studded defensive matchup by San Fran. And then lastly, we kind of overlooked this game, but it's Chicago at Vegas. Now the Bears have a chance to go 2-2, and I think or the Vegas Raiders as well. And I think that this could be a great kind of an interesting matchup there in Vegas. I think that Caleb Williams can kind of have a great fantasy matchup there. No one's really talking about. Roma Dunze has another fantastic finish in Vegas. And you know what? I want to see Gene T. I want to see what he can do against this Bears defense. I want to see if they give him 20. I think they should give him 20 plus carries in this game. I think Pete Carroll, that's the plan. Let's give Gene T 20 to 25. This has to be the Gene T game. That has to be the ultimate 120-yard game. I'm sorry, but I want 3 touchdowns, Justin. I want 3 touchdowns. If I get 2, I'm fine with that. But I need tutties from Gene T this week. I think that the Bears look a little bit intimidating on paper. I can understand that. They have splats, but I do think that they are beatable. And if you can give Gene T 20 to 25 carries, he will have the number 1 finish besides my other running backs in Scatterbo. But I think we have a rookie RB week because we also have Trey Benson starting. So that's on Thursday night. So I think that this is going to be a great week in rookie running backs for fantasy.
No, I kind of like that discussion with the rookie running backs. Like, I think that Trevion Henderson's in line for a good game this week. They play the Panthers, which is a good matchup. And the way that last week ended with Ramondre fumbling, one of them fumbled twice. Gibson fumbled, I know that. But there was 3 total fumbles by those 2 running backs. And that's been a curse for them their entire careers. And Henderson has been a guy that's been really safe with the ball. So maybe there's a different, play scheme called up for Henderson to get more touches this week. I think another game too. We discussed it a little bit, but the Colts and the Rams. We've seen the Colts be so good this year. They've only punted one time in 3 football games. Their offense has been great. Their defense has been pretty good. And then with the Rams, man, they just lost a heartbreaker where they were up by 19 points to the Super Bowl champs. Now they get this home matchup here. I think that this game, I think people might be thinking that, the Rams are going to be able to lock down on defense. I don't know. I think the Colts are going to make this game.
Oh yeah.
This might be a game where I want like all parties invested. Like I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Where you're going to want Puka and Devontae, of course, and Kyron. I mean,
Taylor versus Kyron, yeah.
Yeah, and Pittman's been really good thus far this year. You're going to start Warren, obviously Taylor. I think Daniel Jones is still worth a start, even though it's on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that one little thing too with that Jacksonville game and San Francisco, both of these guys, you're talking about Robert Saleh and Liam Cohen. They were both heavily considered for the Jacksonville head coaching gig, if you remember, during the offseason. That was a discussion. They ended up not going the path of Saleh. Saleh signs with the 49ers, and Cohen gets the job. So I don't know. We'll see that there. But, yeah, the loss of Nick Bosa is pretty big. At first, I didn't love ETN this week, but now with no Bosa, I'm a little bit more on board here that ETN might have a good game. And then the last thing, and then we'll wrap up, is that Chicago and Vegas game. I think that the Bears are going to be able to score at will. We saw Marcus Mariota and this offense for the Commanders last week be able to score a bunch, and that was with McLaurin leaving the game early. And so I think Chicago is probably going to put up 30-plus points. Can the Raiders fight back? I think the Bears' defense is not that good to where the Vegas Raiders are not going to be able to put up points. So I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of points in that game as well. So I'm investing in that game, the Rams game. And I'm hoping that the Bills don't get in such a lead that Josh Allen doesn't do too much, because I have him in our biggest league. But there's a good chance that the Bills get themselves up by 30 points, and then they just can run the football out for the rest of the game. I think that the Ireland game is going to be pretty low scoring. I know the Vikings put up 48 points last week, but Europe games are always weird.
Yep.
And so I don't think that there's going to be a ton of offense there. But yeah, anyways, Dween Nation, those are our Week 4 NFL game predictions and discussion and analysis through the biggest games on the week. We really appreciate you guys listening. If you need any more advice, if you have any questions, let us know. Check the TikTok, check the Instagram. But thank you guys, and Genoa, send us out.
Yo, Dween Nation, this was our rapid fire picks of the weeks / predictions. We also like to talk about these matchups because there's so much depth, so much history. It's very rich. Every week there's another matchup with the potentially new starters. So we love talking about this with you guys. But thank you guys for watching. We love you guys. And as always, peace.